Oh, hold on.
It is live.
Right. Ooh. Oh, move.
It is raining a lot here.
Okay, so we are live. All right. So, hey, my supernaturals. This is Beverly Hines. I'm the CEO of Hair Scripts, and this is the Supernaturals podcast. And we're just gonna have a sit-down conversation with my homegirl, Jummie. And Jummie, I'm not gonna butcher your last name. I know I tried it, so I just want you to say it for everyone for me really quickly.
Ogunyemi.
Ogunyemi. Okay.
Yeah, you did it.
I'm trying. I'm like, I cannot butcher your name. She is too dope. Okay, Jummie is a mompreneur, y'all. She is a speaker. She is out here empowering women left and right. Okay, that's what I call her, an expert empowerer. Okay.
Yeah.
And listen, she's on here. I know we meet with experts, etc. We've had a trichologist, a dermatologist, but I love Jummie because she's the CEO of Glam's Naturally Oil. And we are all about clean, all natural hair care products here in Supernaturals, on Hair Scripts, etc. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want Jummie to tell us her story. What's your hair story? Your come to Jesus moment, as I call it. What along this journey, and then we're going to talk about the products.
Okay. Hi, Bev. Thank you so much. First, I'm like, thank you for having me. This is so exciting. It's always like a different vibe with Bev. Yeah. I feel like it's just like my long lost sister.
I agree.
Thank you for this opportunity. I am not taking this for granted. So my name is Jummie Ogunyemi, and I am the creator and founder of Glam Naturally Oil. And you wanted me to talk about my hair moment. So I'm actually going to try to share briefly how I started Glam Naturally Oil and what inspired me to actually start creating my product. So in 2016, I delivered a beautiful baby bouncing girl called Divine. Aww. And my darling Divine, a pregnancy was so actually quite easier than my first. Okay. And I was craving a lot of healthier foods like salad and apples. So it was a different pregnancy.
Must be nice.
So, I know, right? So you would think that after everything, I should not have suffered what I suffered, but it did happen. So 3 months after she was born, I went back to work. I had my birth control installed in February of 2017. So I did a crochet hairstyle in April of 2017. I took out the hairstyle. When I did, I noticed, because normally when you have braids installed, you will probably not notice a lot of shedding until after you start taking it out.
Right.
When I took it out, I noticed that I could literally feel a chunk of my hair coming out. And then my edges, the back, the middle of my hair was my edges, I had bald spot everywhere once. So I didn't have no edges. And the middle of my hair was really, really thin. And after taking it out the next morning in the bathroom, and I realized how much hair I've shed and lost, I just literally busted out into tears, like cried. Yeah, I cried my eyes out. My husband rushed to the bathroom, was like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" I'm like, I just literally noticed that I have no hair. It was like, "What are you talking about? You have hair." I'm like, "Look at my edges. There's nothing."
He doesn't get it. He doesn't
get it.
Right.
It's just hair. It will grow back. And I even cried even more. What do you mean it's going to grow back? Right. Just like that, it's going to grow back. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I was very self-conscious about it.
Right.
So I installed another crochet to cover up all my bald spot. And, to try to make it more manageable for me to be able to deal with it, but not knowing that was actually causing more damage.
Worse. Right.
Worse. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks later, because it affected my confidence so much, I was so self-aware of the fact that I had bald spots.
Mm-hmm.
I prayed about it and I told God that at the end of the day, I can't. This is affecting me. People, like when you're looking at me, you won't think I'm affected. Something is going on inside.
Oh, you're so cheery, so happy.
Yeah, it's so hard to notice, but deep down, I was so affected by that. And God told me, and I will never forget, He told me that you have to turn the story around.
Mm.
And before then, in 2016, was when I actually started mixing oils and selling them to family and friends, and even on Instagram, back and forth. But it wasn't really. It was a side hustle, but not a serious one, if that makes sense. I was just doing it, but I was pregnant and it was so hard to do everything.
Right.
So I didn't really pay too much attention to it. So God told me, and then I only had two products, which is our hair growth oil and our braid oil, because I love braids. So I wanted to do something that would keep my braids nice and intact.
Right.
So I created that and the hair oil for growth.
Mm-hmm.
So God told me to recreate my formulas, and everything that I put together was given to me in a dream.
Wow.
So I already had my formula, but God told me to recreate it to make it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I told myself I'm going to do this. I listened, because that's another thing. Sometimes God tells us to do something,
right.
and sometimes we fail to listen and put it into action.
Mm-hmm.
And then God will give that idea to someone else. So I listened. I'm like, I'm going to do something about this. So I started, recreating all the formulas. I added 6 extra oils, so I doubled the amount of oils in there, and I started using it every day on my scalp and massaging it on my scalp, my head every single day, 2 times a day.
Okay.
2 weeks later, I took a picture, and I just couldn't believe
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, my baby hair was coming back.
Wow.
Okay, if this is a 2 weeks result, let me see how it's going to go after 1 month.
Right.
1 month later, 2 months later. And by the way, I was taking pictures every time, and I was posting it on Glam Naturally or Instagram page.
Oh, wow. So it's on there, so we can see the journey.
We can see the journey. All the way.
I don't want to cut you off because the story is good, but there's a few questions that I already have.
Okay.
So how long after the hair loss did it take for you to create your oil?
So this was, remember, I already had the oil.
So you already had an oil before you lost your hair?
Before I lost my hair.
Okay.
But I recreated the formula. Like literally, I noticed the hair loss happened 3 months after I took out my braids.
Right.
2 weeks later, I recreated the formula.
So 2 weeks later, so there was a 2-week span of time.
Yes.
Okay. And then you recreated the formula, and then you started applying it 2 weeks later after it was created.
After I noticed it.
And you started noticing the hair growth.
Yes, after 2 weeks.
So I'm curious as to why. So what made you have a hair growth oil before you lost your hair?
Okay, so I had anemia.
Okay.
2 years before I had that pregnancy, I didn't even know I was anemic. And I told this story on my page and on my YouTube page. I was craving ice a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like food. If I can have ice, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I was also craving gum a lot, but not just any. I have to swallow it and eat the gum and swallow it.
Right.
I knew that was a red flag that I was anemic.
Right.
The only thing that made me know that I was anemic was because I was about 26, 27-year-old, and I noticed that no matter how much I slept, I was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do my daily activities of living. And that was when I went to the doctor. And that's why now I tell every person that I know and every woman that I know, please do your checkup every year.
Oh, can you say that again? Can you say that again? Yes. Yes.
Your annual physical is so important.
Mm-hmm.
I stress this, but now I do it twice a year.
Right.
I want to monitor everything, and God forbid, nothing will happen. But it's better to be safe than sorry, right?
Right.
So since then, I started doing it yearly because I never
used to start losing hair from the anemia.
I actually have this on my YouTube. I have a before and a after.
Okay.
2 years, my hair was so thin. And that was what made me develop a passion for mixing organic ingredient to grow back my hair.
Okay.
Because I went to the beauty supply store and I couldn't find an oil. Like, like when you go to the store and you want a original.
Right. Everybody needs an oil in their medicine cabinet.
Good. Not just any kind of oil. A good quality one.
Let's talk about that.
I couldn't find it.
Not all oils are created equal.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. I really want to talk about that, but I want my listeners to cue in on a few things you said, right, so far. So number one, just in case you missed it, Jummie already was dealing with anemia, right? That she wasn't really aware of. She had all the symptoms, but she wasn't seeing a doctor, but she started to have thinning. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we notice that our hair is thinning and we just ignore it, or we're just like, oh, or when you think something moved in a room and you don't notice what it is, and then you're like, that move. That's the same thing with your hair. Like I'm not bugging. I know my hair seems thinner than before, but then you ignore it. And then she had her daughter, And for those of you who don't know, a lot of times the postpartum hair loss is real.
Yes. Oh my God.
It is so real. Some people are lucky, some
Yeah.
people are not. It's
Mm-mm.
pregnancy, and not all pregnancies are the same. So one
Yeah.
pregnancy, you could keep all your hair. The next pregnancy, your edges are back here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is, I mean, there's just so much, and there's scientific terms
Yeah.
for, you know, postpartum hair loss, which I'm not going to go ahead and try to, because I'm not a scientist.
Collagen effluvium.
Because we speak to dermatologists all the time who can talk about postpartum hair loss. But back to Jummie. So then she lost even more hair this time.
Yes.
Post the second pregnancy.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I just want you guys to know that you're not the only one going through this. You know, if you're noticing that your hair is thinning, that is a sign. That means something. Don't just say, is it? Okay, never. No, it's not. My ponytail is not thinner. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's a sign. It's a sign. And what we're trying to tell you guys is go see an expert right away. See a professional right away, because no two stories are alike. So I want to use oils, but the reason why this is important to highlight is because a lot of us think that we're going to slap oil on top of our hair and internally we still have issues. It's not going to work. So Jummie has a really dope oil with a divine solution, a solution that was sent to her. Okay. Had one, and then she enhanced it. So she optimized the solution. So while we're going to talk about oils and how they're not all created equal, and we all need one for sure, because oils can do a lot. And I want Jummie to talk about that.
Because
I highlight, right? Yeah. You need to go first and find out what your cause of hair loss is.
I was just, honestly, I want to give you a hug right now. I just want to give you a hug.
Thank you. I need it, girl. I need it because my kids are bugging me now.
You just amen.
Right. So let's talk about oils.
Because because a lot of people, even, and I'm going to tell you what I experienced as well, even after using my oils. Number one, like you said, and I speak to Dr. Yolanda. I don't know if you know Dr. She's a dermatologist and a cosmetologist.
Dr. Yolanda, what's her last name?
Gosh, I have to remember what's her last name. She's a cosmetologist and dermatologist. I'm gonna get her last name before.
Because we just interviewed a Dr. Yolanda.
She wrote a book, Get to the Roots. Wait.
Yeah! Oh my God! I gotta send her this interview. We just interviewed Dr. Yolanda Lenzi.
I have yes, Lenzi.
Yes,
I didn't get a book. It's right there.
Yeah. She was talking about her book a lot on the podcast. So guys, you know, we literally, so you're probably going to see this interview after the one with Dr. Yolanda Lenzi, but we did interview Dr. Yolanda Lenzi on our podcast. So that's so cool that you bring her up. Shout out to
Dr. Yolanda. Shout out to you. I really love her, honestly. And she's going to be working with me actually on the new platform that I'm creating.
Yes, tell us about it, girl, you hold it.
Dr. Yolanda is awesome. And when you said that seek an expert consultation, it is so important because a lot of people are actually wasting money, spending money on so many hair care products, no result, and they're still not seeing a dermatologist. I don't get it. Like, you have to go to the source of the roots and tackle it.
Right.
And know why because if it's happening due to anemia, like myself,
right,
your high-end pills would do it, of course, while using your oils, but you need to treat it inside out. Even with my oil, the oils that we make, they're 100% organic carrier oil and essential oil. I do not compromise with that. I make them myself from home, so I know what I'm.
So let's talk about what a carrier oil is for people who don't know. So there's essential oils, there's carrier oils. What's the difference?
So carrier oils is basically oils that can stand on its own. So a carrier oil is like, for example, you have the castor oil, you have the jojoba oil. They're oils that can be mixed with something else, and you can use them also for like your pre-poo treatment. So the jojoba oil, the castor oil, that's one thing that was, okay, if you want to do a pre-poo treatment, use an organic jojoba oil, for example. And the castor oil has moisture in it. It helps you retain moisture while it is strengthening your strands at the same time. And the essential oils, or they're made from, like, for example, the lavender oil. They're diffused and made from plants. Depends on how they're made. If it's the organic one, you're getting it organically from, the plant itself. But essential oils, even though you can use them on its own, it's always recommended to mix them with your oils because they can be very strong and the effects can be very strong as well. Like I recommend don't just like put peppermint oil on your scalp, for example.
Please say that again because we don't exactly know that. And if you're not a chemist, but if you don't understand how to mix solutions together, you're gonna just buy peppermint oil because someone said, or on Google, YouTube said peppermint oil is good for stimulating blood. And you just throw that on your
no. You can it's don't because they're very, especially if you have sensitive scalp. You don't want to just put essential oils on your scalp because it could actually cause more damage to your scalp.
What can it do?
It can cause damage to your scalp.
Right.
So that's the reason why you have the carrier oils. So mixing them together, and then you also have to make sure you're mixing the right amount. Because then you just mix in maybe like, let's say 0.5 ml, and then you put half of it in a 4-ounce bottle of jojoba oil or castor oil. That is too much.
Right.
For that bottle size. So you have to put like a little bit of it. Oh no, sorry. I just got news from my husband.
Oh,
sorry about that.
Everything okay?
Yeah, everything will be fine. Sorry.
We're live. So this is real life. Is everything okay?
Everything is okay. Yeah, everything is fine. Yeah. Okay. Everything is fine. Thank you.
We could wrap up if we need to, and we can, okay.
It's fine. Okay. So we can, so knowing the amount that you need to mix to a carrier is also very important. Carrier oil can be used on its own on your scalp or your body, but essential oils
that are like olive oil. What else is it?
Or castor oil, avocado oil.
Okay.
Coconut oil is a carrier oil.
Which some people are anti, but we understand.
Yeah, right. But it is a carrier oil.
It is a carrier.
Yeah, so those oils you can use on its own.
Right.
Essential oil you should not be putting them on your body.
Essential oil so that the carrier oil can help carry that.
And then make it into a perfect solution for you. But that's basically the difference. Don't just put it on your scalp or your body because it might damage your skin.
Right. And I want to say this for Jummie in Jummie's case as well. You have to understand, and while we all love to DIY stuff, some of us are DIY queens. We'll try to mix everything. Everything that we hear is good for hair growth. We'll mix it all under the sun into a bottle and try to apply it. That doesn't mean it's going to work. Think about every seasoning that you put on food. Eventually it's going to taste like salt. It's just going to be salty. It's going to lose, the taste, right? If you're going for Mediterranean, you're going to use Mediterranean seasonings. You have the right concoctions.
Right.
So what I'm trying to make is, I'm not discouraging anyone from creating their own oil, but why do that when there are people who understand the science, the chemistry behind this, and know the right concoctions to put together that's going to really penetrate your scalp? Because if you put too much or too little, then it's not going to penetrate your scalp. And that's what we needed to do. We needed to get under the skin's layer, the epidermis.
Yeah.
So, if for someone who needs to understand, having an oil is a staple. Once you talk to a doctor, regardless, everyone is going to say that you need an oil. What are oils good for?
Excuse me, for the scalp. So the oils, especially our oil, so we have two different types of oils, which is the air oil and the braid oil. So the air oil promotes a healthier hair growth. So using it daily, because there's some oils that will clog your scalp. You also want to be careful because coconut oil does clog the scalp. So you don't want to be putting coconut oil on your scalp.
Right.
It's not good for the scalp. So that's the reason why carrier and essential oils mixed together, because once you get the right balance and the right formula and you're using it on your scalp, it is penetrating your scalp, it is stimulating your scalp, it is promoting growth. And I always recommend using a scalp massager as well, which is something that I found very therapeutic, by the way. Oh my God. Like if I've had a long week and I just want to self-care, that's like self-care for me. Right. I put oil on my scalp and my daughter caught a video of me. I didn't even know she was recording me. And I was in my bathroom scalp massaging and she was taking a video and cracking up.
Right.
It was just the stimulation and it felt amazing. At the beginning because I don't know if we're going to get to talk about that, but I had a big chop after I suffered postpartum alopecia.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so basically, my postpartum alopecia, it was really bad. And another thing is, even while you're using the oils, that's why it's important to understand the science between postpartum alopecia and why it happens and how it's very common. So don't be alarmed. You're
Mhm.
not alone. Don't be alarmed. And it is temporary.
Right.
It is very temporary. But then it could also be
In some
permanent.
cases.
It can lead to permanency if you don't make the right step, especially at that beginning stage. Yeah.
Right.
So what I noticed was when I suffered, I didn't even know what I suffered. I just thought, oh, I just lost my hair because I just had a baby. Well, which is postpartum alopecia. Because your body has just suffered a trauma, especially if you had surgery, all that, and having a baby is traumatic to the body, period. So
Mhm.
because of that reason, your hormones start shifting and acting crazy, and then you now use birth controls, which even makes it even more crazy. Because
Right.
it happened with me.
Going on. Yeah.
That was my first experience with birth control. My first pregnancy, I didn't use birth controls because I just have this myth that I know something about me and birth controls. I didn't want to go into it until I knew I was done having kids.
Right.
So
Right.
my first pregnancy, I never suffered postpartum alopecia or hair loss.
Mhm.
Fine. And I actually had a surgery with that. My second pregnancy was, I had a natural birth, but then I had 3 months later, I had IUD Marina.
Mm.
And I didn't even know that that was one of the symptoms, hair loss, after using it.
Okay, say that. Say that.
Yeah, that's one of the symptoms of Marina. Yes. And I actually went to research more because I got curious.
Of course.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure that, okay, I know that there's something called postpartum alopecia, which is normal, but then something to do with the birth control as well.
Mm.
Because then I was like, why is it that my hair loss started after I installed my birth control? So it must have done something to my hormones.
Pay attention to your body.
Yeah, pay attention to your body. It is so important because
hormonal hair loss is
it
real.
is real. Because
Mhm.
my hair was flourishing way before pregnancy. Even
Mhm.
after pregnancy, it got
Mhm.
better. It was that 3 months after that I suffered it,
Right.
which I know is part of postpartum alopecia. But then when I installed the Marina and I was using the oils, it did grow back my hair. It did the job. But guess what? Because I had braids installed and I had crochet installed and I was still putting tension.
Girl, you just had so many different things going on that was contributing to this hair loss. It was like an atomic bomb. You had braids and crochet, so you were sitting there giving yourself traction alopecia,
right there,
postpartum alopecia.
Right there. I was looking at
it was just an atomic bomb. And then, of course, the Mirena, which a lot of people don't tell you, some of the symptoms of birth control is hair loss because it can alter your hormones. I'm not here speaking against birth control, but these are things that you should be aware of.
Yeah.
Be aware of how things really change your body.
And he does, and that's the reason it's okay to have this birth control. I would not, because I need birth controls like and I'm using it, but then I had to figure out another way to save my edges and save my hair,
balance your hormones.
Yeah,
try to balance those hormones.
Like, balance it.
What? If you're not a scientist, right? Again, if you're not a scientist, if this is not something that you understand fully and you can Google all day and you still don't get it, why put yourself through that? Just meet with someone, connect with the doctor, an expert who is going to help you balance your hormones. That's what they do. They check the hormone levels in your body and tell you which hormones are the culprit for your hair loss and what foods to eat, even what oils to use that's going to help balance all of that. Because
you're dropping gems.
The hair follicle, the body, it absorbs what you put into it. What you put on it, it absorbs it, and it can really change. It can change those hormones.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me more about your oil. Let's talk about your oil and why it's more unique than what's out here in the market right now.
Okay, so there's actually a lot of people doing oils now. Everywhere. Like even when I started, it wasn't a lot, but now I feel like it's like a million of people doing it.
Right.
One thing that I have always prided myself about my products, which is because I make them from home, they're handmade 100%.
Okay.
So 100% organic ingredients. All the carrier oils are chosen, specially because all those the different oils that we choose during the ingredient and that God gave to me, they all promote hair growth, and even the essential oils. So when we get, honestly, without our reviews, we can't be where we are, because we get, like yesterday, we got about 5 reviews from women all over the world. Every day we get like 5 reviews of how it's growing back their hair within 2 weeks to a month of using it.
That's awesome.
which is a blessing because it keeps me going. That okay, I'm changing lives. I'm not only like growing back people's hair and edges. I'm helping a woman out there get her confidence back. Because that was me. My confidence was shaken and affected because I knew I had a bald spot, or because I knew that my hair was thinning and my hair was not healthy. So coming back to what you were saying, I actually cut off all my hair because after I was growing back my hair with my oil and I was doing the braids, because my edges and my scalp suffered a traumatic experience, the fact that I was doing those braids was making it even more traumatic. So no matter how much I was growing back my hair, I was losing my hair even more. So I decided that I'm done with braids. I'm done with protective hairstyling. And I took a break. It's been 2 years and some months. My hair is the healthiest, is the thickest that it's ever been in a very long time. I have just left it alone.
Jummie, I need oil. Girl, I need this oil. I'm sold. I need you to, and I want to highlight, I want to start on organic, right? Because we hear that all the time. It's a marketing thing now. Organic, clean, non-toxic. Seriously, no, you differentiate how organic your ingredients are versus it being on someone's label that it's organic. Please talk about that.
So you can tell when a product is organic by when you smell it. I have had other products that will go, it's organic, but then you smell it, but then you can also smell that it's not authentic. For those that are organic freaks like me, you can tell the difference when you smell a product, if it's organic or not. And this is how I actually transitioned into the organic, world, because when I went to my beauty supply store and I smelled a lot of the oils, the carrier oils, the essential oils, and then I went on a different website that was the first time I encountered organic product, and I bought like a 0.1 ml oil was $35 for a tiny oil like this. And then when I smelt it, I'm like, when you can just smell the plant, you can smell the realness from the tea tree, you can smell it. And I smelled the price that was like $5, and I saw the difference. What are they putting in there? What is in that bottle? That's why I don't go to the beauty supply store anymore. I have not been to one in like 2 or 3 years. I don't. There's no reason. I don't trust the brands in there. A product like mine, like a 4 ounces bottle, costs $35 because I know how much it cost me to buy 1 gallon of organic jojoba oil. I know how much it cost me to get one of them. So, so that's basically what makes us stand out. And when people smell our product, it smells strong because it's organic. People they need to get used to being exposed to the organic ingredient and organic product and understand that it's not going to smell like the regular one you're buying from your supply store. And it feels it on your scalp as well. Beverly, I can't hear you.
So let me ask this question. So let me ask this question, Jummie, and we're going to wrap up because I think I'm starting to have. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think I can, but there's a delay.
I think I'm having some technical issues. Can you hear me now?
I can. There's a little delay, but I think I can. Oh no.
Right. Can you hear me now? I think we're back. Okay, we're back. Okay, perfect. So we're going to wrap up because we're having these technical issues, but I want to ask, for someone who's lost their edges and step one, they went to go see a professional, they seen a doctor, an expert, and they need an oil. How do you recommend that they use your oil to start seeing the hair growth, the stimulation of hair growth?
Okay. Can you hear me? Is there still a delay? Can you hear me? Okay, you can. Okay. All right, great. So so basically this is how there are 2 different ways to use the oil, because I would say the oils are not too thick.
There's a delay, but I can hear you.
You can hear me good. it's not too thick, it's like in between.
Yes.
So we have ladies with one type hair, like straight hair and curly hair, that want to use the oils, and they do use the oils. So the best way to use the oils, if your hair texture is between 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, is using it as a scalp treatment at night, especially because they wash their hair more often than we do. So if you wash your hair 3 or 4 times a week, for example, you can use it at night before you go to bed, and you know that I'm going to be washing my hair in the morning, so that it can be a scalp treatment on your scalp. Use your satin scarf or your satin bonnet to cover it up, so that you get most of the treatments in your hair, and then you can wash it off in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. But then if you have thicker hair like myself, between I think 3C and 4C, like myself, my hair is thick and will suck up everything. I actually recommend, if it's not too much, you can use it once a day, it's fine. But if it's not too much, I use mine 2 times a day on the affected areas especially. So you can use it on your entire scalp daily, but then the affected areas, use it 2 times a day and stimulate blood flow. You want to stimulate blood flow by massaging. Even if you can use a scalp massager, use your fingers to, don't damage your scalp while doing that. So be carefully stimulate the blood flow, so that the oils can penetrate inside your follicles better. You could do that 2 times daily for, every day is what I recommend. You actually would see a result better if you're doing it that way daily. I can hear you. I can hear you, Bev. Oh, what happened to the internet?
Right. Awesome. So, Jummie, thank you so much. I could talk to you all day. And if we were in person sipping on some tea, girl, we were talking all day.
Talking all day, no.
I know. But I'm starting to have some technical. I know. No worries.
Okay, darling. It was such a pleasure
thank
talking
you so
to
much,
you.
Jummie.
Bye,
and yes, we're gonna link all the information down